Howdy, everybody. Welcome into a Wednesday edition of the B Team here inside the TexAgs studios. Thank you guys for joining us, hanging with us. As you know, we have one studio, a very fine, a very multi-purpose studio. So if you are a fan of Ask Lucci, be on the lookout for that coming up. Just the scheduling, it gets tight in here, and so we had to delay our start to this afternoon a little bit to make sure that we got all the content filmed that all of you anticipate each and every week. And with Billy traveling to the Arkansas game, today was his day to film the Ask Lucci. So we're getting started on a We Learned Wednesday here on the B Team. Don't forget, like, comment, and subscribe. Help our algorithm out as we continue to grow the show. I do appreciate all the feedback that we've gotten back, good or bad. I know that now, having done baseball radio color commentary for the last 2 years and been on TexAgs for 10 years talking on the radio, you're not going to please everybody. So I understand that this may not be for some of you, but I have liked the response. I've also gotten some really kind DMs and text messages from folks that are listening to it and have told us that, hey, I'm going through a hard time, and I really appreciate you and Richard sitting down, and it's like talking to my boys about sports. And if we are giving you that outlet, if we are giving you that respite from whatever's going on in your life, then that's part of what we're trying to do here. So I appreciate all the kind messages, and I appreciate all the constructive criticism, even if it is a little bit brash. Either way, we're going to keep trying to make this thing as good as possible. But as you know, we are here Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays from 4:15 to about 5:45 each time, taking you home on your drive home. I know that the rush hour traffic in College Station has been a little bit better this week because there's such thing as fall break. When I was going through grad school here, there was no such thing as fall break. Nick Savage is producing the show today. Nick, were you a fall break guy?
Negative. No, never got a fall break.
So this is a new thing. And as what people refer to as a townie, I do appreciate a fall break. Getting into work has been nice, and getting out of work here in the afternoon has been
a townie?
Nice.
Is that?
That's the old term. I don't know if that's still used.
You're a townie. That's still used, absolutely.
So a townie is somebody that just lives in College Station. The student population refers to the people that live in town as townies, or at least they used to. So yeah, I'm a townie, and I might end up being a College Station townie for the rest of my life. Who knows where that's going to go? But we've talked about this before. I enjoy living here.
I do.
South College Station, very nice. It's away from the university. The kids get to have their space and have their fun. I get to be old and sit on my back porch and in my recliner without anybody bothering me on the south side of town. So we welcome in Richard Zane.
Howdy, Ag. Sorry to be a little late.
That's okay.
How are we doing?
I told him, look, we have one studio for right now. I can't wait for the old studio to get upgraded and turned into a podcast thing. I'm sure Nick is not looking forward to that day because that just means more shows for him to have to produce or find people to produce.
Well, it's actually, it should be the same number of shows, just less... more space, more time, less hectic chaos to have to figure out the scheduling of it all,
Yeah, I guess. I'm so interested to see, has anybody seen Blueprints? This is kind of on air behind the scenes. I have not seen what that's supposed to look like.
I have. Oh, yeah. Blueprints of the studio. No,
the new
I just know the broad idea of what they're going for.
I hope the couches are easy to get out of because I can get wedged into a couch with anybody.
Yeah, you look like a guy who could get wedged into a couch.
The couch that I take my naps on has a very nice brawny kind of cutout, not a cutout. What do you call it? Like I've got my own wedge in there.
Divot?
Yeah, I've got my own divot. That's a good call.
Crater?
I've cratered the couch. Crater? I've cratered the couch and even where my head goes. So I just kind of I start to lay down and just fall into it. It's perfect.
While we're talking about like TexAgs stuff, can I go ahead and give a huge appreciation to our staff? I brag on you guys a ton when we have our meetings, but today alone, we're going to produce 30 pieces of content just on the site.
Why don't you go through the numbers? Because on our content meeting on Tuesday, you did go through the numbers.
So last week, the Florida week, we had something like 134, 136 pieces of content from Monday through Sunday, a pretty even split from the break, like from a free versus premium split. I'm going to have to pull this up here for just a second just to give you guys a better breakdown of the numbers. Like
while you're looking that
up, insane from the Friday through the Sunday. So the football weekend itself, we had over 50 pieces of content. We are producing at an insane level, and it takes a village. Today alone, 30 pieces of site content. So that doesn't even account for what Callie and her social media team are doing, because they've been killing it too. 30 pieces of content rivals our signing day shows.
Yeah,
That's insane.
We have upped the level of production. I've been working here 10 years now. This is my 10th year with TexAgs. It's crazy to say that, but you just keep making moves north. Your arrow keeps pointing north. Ever since I got here, it's kind of grown and gotten bigger. And just like the stock market, you have some dips, and then all of a sudden you kind of refine your footing and it takes back off. And sometimes that's a challenge from the ownership. Sometimes it's just the change of the scenery in the space, and we're navigating that right now with NIL like crazy. And you're only going to see more and more content as a result of that. But we are situated in a truly unique place in the college sports landscape. And because we are, I think a lot of people look at us, how is TexAgs doing it? And if you're trying to keep up, good luck. Because we are pacing the field. And there's nobody, it's going to take one of these national sites maybe could rival us if they're count all their activations from all their sites.
Yeah.
But there's not one site that's going to come close to us. And you're right. It's a huge feather in the cap of our ownership for not only having the vision and pushing the boundaries with our content and wanting us to do more, but it's also the capable hands of our team. And it starts, with you. People don't understand how much stuff comes across Richard's desk in a given day. Everything that goes out from our site to the public, Richard sees.
I won't say everything, right? Because I got to give a huge appreciation to Kay Nagley. I couldn't do what I do without
the publishers.
The two of us for sure combined for 100%. Kay, no offense to TexAgs Live, but that's what she's really overseeing. That's her main purview. I'd say I see at least 80% of our stuff before it goes out.
And then Nick and his team. I mean, like we were talking on TexAgs Live this morning that if Josh or Garrett something ever happened, like we can't fix the coding on the back end. Nick's the same way.
Man,
when Nick gets a little bit sick, I'm worried about it because it's just K.
Don't leave the coding up to me. Don't ask me to do any coding. That's not going to happen.
But
just trying to ask you to pick the right pictures, Nick.
Pretty good.
But you know what?
Good one.
Got you.
But even when stuff happens that falls through the cracks for us, or we make a mistake, we have people that are willing to work late hours into the night to try to get it fixed. And because the brand and the product matter to the people here.
It's absolutely a trickle-down effect, too, because it's a Wednesday, just a random Wednesday during football season. I know things are important with how well Texas A&M football is playing this season, but the people have gotten multiple pieces of Billy Lucci content on a Wednesday, or you're going to get multiple pieces of Billy Lucci content on a Wednesday. That doesn't typically happen. You've gotten a ton of stuff from our team out in Birmingham, right, for SEC Tip-Off 26.
Hey, did you know, let me ask you this. Did you know, and Nick, I don't know if you knew either, that Bucky McMillan is from Birmingham?
That's true. That is true.
I now know his favorite pizza place.
Oh, yeah.
I now know
where
his
go
high
hang out
school.
and go to bars and stuff like that. Hey, Nick, who's that behind you? I can't see that.
It's my father.
Oh,
is it really?
He's
hi,
here.
Mr. Savage.
Well, Mr. Savage,
the GOAT.
I mean, we have had a celebrity list on the B team in 2 days. Mr. Savage is here. Josh Olsey visited us yesterday. Lucci was walking around here after Ask Lucci looking for his wallet. I thought we were going to start the show with him meandering around the office like Mr. Magoo looking for his wallet.
He is Mr. Magoo.
But Billy's been on the show before, so we are looking forward. Especially during the off season, Richard. I'm not trying to kick you out. I'm going to try to get creative with some of the guests.
Yeah. Please. And definitely during baseball season when I got to run across to the Bluebell Park, we got to get creative.
And also for those of you, Richard is very self-aware, and for as much the stuff as he does. He came upstairs the other day and asked me a question. He goes, "Hey, am I okay on B team?" And it was because some people had made comments about him watching the Dodgers during the show. And I was like, "Look, man, you're great on B team, but when you watch the Dodgers, people can see that you're watching the Dodgers and you care a bunch." So
look, here's the deal, guys. You can try and bully that fandom out of me. It's not going to work. It's going to die with me. So I'm going to take it to the grave.
So here's what's going to happen is if the Dodgers are playing during the B team hours, we're just going to have somebody else come on and sit in the chair so that Richard can watch his game in peace like a huge Dodger fan that he is, and he doesn't feel obligated to contribute to this second-rate show. So
I can contribute. I can do both. I think last week was a a wake-up call. I can have it on and just keep it in the corner of my eye. We'll see how that goes. If you're okay with that, you make the call. Truly think that tomorrow will be the last time they will play a day game during the B team for the rest of the year.
As I mentioned off the top of the show, this is a We Learned Wednesday. I've got a couple things in the sporting world that I've learned. I typically hold that for history of phrases, etymology of words. I do have one of those, a very interesting story about Italian supercars that I learned over last weekend.
Go ahead.
No, I'm going to say that to the end because I want to start with we have not, and I mean we, meaning our company, and this is probably my fault that either myself or you and I did not sit down and talk about Aggie baseball because football is 6-0 and has been dominating the discussion around A&M athletics.
As it should,
deservedly
right?
So. What we saw 2 Fridays ago against Sam Houston and then this past Friday against TCU, we have not spoken about on any of our platforms other than just – you do the post-game, the post-scrimmage write-ups, which I think a lot of people have really enjoyed because you track the entire scrimmage. And then I put together the highlight packages, but we haven't sit down here and spoken about what we liked, what we had questions about. And I'll say this. I mentioned on TexAgs Live this morning that we hadn't talked about this, but there were some national folks that have made commentary about the scrimmage on Friday night, and people we respect. And Kendall Rogers and D1 Baseball, they are the top voice in college baseball, no questions asked. And what Kendall has grown that thing into is a monster, and it's kind of similar to what Billy's grown TexAgs into. But I would tell Kendall this because I have a great relationship with him after the scrimmage the other night. So if you're unaware, Texas A&M scrimmage TCU last Friday night.
Beat them 8-4, and TCU scored
12 innings.
3 runs in the 10th and 12th.
So it was a 12-inning scrimmage. Through the first 8 innings, TCU didn't score a run, and TCU really didn't threaten through the first.
A&M didn't allow a man in scoring position till the 8th.
So they go through 8 innings of shutout ball. TCU scores 1 in the 9th. So a traditional 9-inning game, Texas A&M would have won 7-1. Now, does the scoreline really matter? No, because you have to understand how these fall exhibitions work. They're changing pitchers every inning. And they are, if an inning runs long like it did against Sam Houston State, they'll just roll the inning without getting 3 outs. That's what these things are designed to do. They are scrimmages. They're not games. If you'll remember last year, A&M absolutely blitzed Houston Christian and the University of Houston without Lavalette, without Schott, without Grahovic in the fall. Blitzed them.
Yep.
And everybody was super high on the preseason ranking. Look what they did. Look what they did in those scrimmages in the fall against U of H and HCU. And then it doesn't matter. So whether A&M won both of these scrimmages against Sam and against TCU or they lost, it has no bearing on how they're going to play in the fall. My issue is with what Kendall put out and what David Seifert of D1 Baseball put out, who was also in the ballpark Friday, is both of them led with TCU, and Kendall called TCU a bona fide contender. And I'm not discounting that at all. What I saw at TCU was they ran out 8 straight arms that didn't throw a fastball under 95.
Yeah, they were
big arms, and so they've got a really deep pitching staff. But A&M scored 7 runs off that pitching staff. Now, A&M didn't rack up a bunch of hits, but what did they do, Richard? That was missing from last year's team in the spring.
They were so patient. They worked 13 walks, took 2 hit-by pitches. They parlayed those 15 free passes into, I believe, 5 of their 8 runs. The willingness to pass the baton, not get super amped up because it's your first time facing somebody other than your own guys, that was very, very impressive. And then to make teams pay when you actually do get those free passes, that's a positive sign. So while they got out hit, they didn't slug a ton against TCU, which you can kind of expect when you're facing an uptick in pitching like what the Horned Frogs represented over the Sam Houston Bearcats. No disrespect to Sam.
I thought Sam looked better.
Because they looked much better than what we had seen twice last spring when the Aggies blitzed them twice.
It was non-competitive. Yeah, non-competitive. And look, the final of that scrimmage was 22-7. but the depth is just different at A&M than it is at Sam. Like, it really falls off a cliff once you get to inning 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 for Sam when they're changing pitchers every inning. As with A&M, it doesn't really get that way, nor does it with TCU. But to your point, that looked like a Michael Early offense.
Pass the baton, man. Swing at strikes, take the balls.
Get on first base.
Swing at strikes and take the balls. And here's what I really like about Texas A&M's offense now with Cliff Pennington added to the staff. And we didn't see it much at all against Sam or TCU. I expect them to be much more aggressive on the base paths. I'm not saying they're going to pump out stolen base numbers like Ronald Acuna Jr. did a couple years ago or my guy Shohei did last year. But they are absolutely going to feature the running game more than we have seen in years past, and that excites me. Taking the extra 90 feet is going to help them produce more and more runs, something they had issues with at times last year. That has me excited. So if you can get on first base, that's the first step because they've got guys with speed. And, of course, Terrence Keel II is going to be the guy at the top of my mind who leads that. But think about what kind of a weapon Travis Chestnut can be off the bench late in games. You get one of those walks from one of your slower movers, Travis Chestnut, go steal second and maybe steal third. Help me scratch off a run here in the late innings.
Yeah, they're going – so – people will ask me, like, how is year 2 under Early going to be different than year 1? I think even Coach Early would sit up here and say he probably just thought that 2024 was going to roll into 2025. And I don't fault him for thinking that. Everybody thought that, right? Like, that's why they were getting so many accolades in the preseason. They just thought that everything was just going to be the same. And it wasn't. And I think that was a wake-up call to him. I think it was a wake-up call to everybody in the program. So how is year 2 under Coach Early going to be different than year 1? I would say, first of all, when you hire a guy like Cliff Pennington, Coach Early understood the necessity to play the whole game. And we talked about that. And that's something that Cliff Pennington, that's one of his ethoses, play the entire game. So when you talk about stealing and you talk about being able to play small ball and being able to manufacture runs where you don't have to just sit back and wait for the 2 or 3 run homer. I think this team, and I think Coach Early understood that, so that's a maturity on his part. Like last year was an eye-opener, like, oh, we got to be good in these other areas. We can't sit back and wait till we hit a 3-run homer, which as the season went on, I think he probably started to understand that. So what have we always said about the punch-outs? They don't matter unless you're not slugging and you're not getting on base. Yep. So the other night, they really didn't slug, but they got on base like crazy. And then Grahovic had a double. Sorrell had a homer. The big swing actually came from Ben Royo, who I want to talk about, okay? Whenever you start projecting this Texas A&M lineup for the spring, and we're going to talk about the pitching staff here in a minute, but whenever you start projecting this Texas A&M baseball lineup in the spring, where does Ben Royo fit in? Because Ben Royo hit 10 homers in 32 games last year, was – by the end of the season, your most trusted defender on the infield, can handle the bats, good in the bunt game, can run. There's a lot of tools there. But I think what Ben Royo is, and maybe the coaching staff was looking for out of Ben Royo, is just the go button. Like, I need you to be this guy every day. Well, I don't know this. If this is fact, this is me speculating. I want to be very clear. This is my speculation, is that the Coach Early and Coach Pennington did not start him in that scrimmage against Sam Houston State, maybe as a wake-up call. Maybe. They started the freshmen. They started Boston Kellner, they started Nico Partita, and then they started Travis Chestnut at second base. Well, when Royo came in, do you remember what he did in that scrimmage?
He homered.
He homered and singled, drove in a run on a single as well. And the homer was off the rec center. He also made a silly play down the line on a pop-up.
Yes,
covered a ton of ground and caught it in foul ground. And so in scrimmage 2 against TCU, the uptick in talent, Ben Royo's out there from the get-go. And what else does he do? He has a huge 2-out, 2-strike, 2 RBI single. So if the light is coming on, and what I mean by the lights coming on has nothing to do with his talent. It's just the day-to-day consistency. If that's coming on for Ben Royo, I think that's one of the bigger stories, or could be one of the bigger stories for this team because of his ability.
Yeah. My biggest takeaway from both of these exhibitions was the pitching. And 2 names specifically, Weston Moss against Sam. He only threw 13 pitches, and yes, it was against the Southland opponent in the Bearcats. But good Lord, was it super easy to dream on and how good he could possibly be as he most likely transitions into a role as a weekend starter as opposed to a bullpen weapon, which we saw him be last year for early. He was fantastic. He only threw single innings in both games against Sam and TCU, but just workman-like. Go up, I'm going to face 3 guys, I'm going to strike out 2 of them in each night. Fantastic. And then the biggest storyline for me, as far as individuals through both of the exhibitions, hands down, Aiden Sims.
Yeah, no question.
Aiden Sims faced, 12 total batters and punched out 8 of them in 4 perfect innings. It's insane. The right-hander, the fastball's got noticeable life. The slider is filthy. You mentioned it to me when he was facing Sam. Every single slider he threw was buckling either a right-handed hitter or a left-handed hitter each and every time. They were so uncomfortable in the box against him. And what I love about that, and what I love about what the pitching staff showed against the Horned Frogs in particular, those 7 innings we talked about, shutout ball against TCU.
8 innings.
8 innings. Okay, excuse me. Where's Shane Sadeo? Where's Josh Stewart? Where's Caden McCoy, who I love? This pitching staff has some real dudes and some real options to turn to. It's now going to be all about deciding roles for individuals and stuff like that, and how do they take to being a weekend starter or a middle relief guy or a back into the bullpen guy, stuff like that. We'll see how stuff shakes out. Man, there's a lot of easy stuff to dream on, and top of that list for me is Mr. Sims.
Yeah, when the fall started, I think everybody that's a fan of Aggie baseball, their biggest question would have been, okay, what's the pitching going to look like whenever you have your 3 weekend starters exit to the professional baseball level? And Shane Sadeo penciled in. Obviously, if his rehab continues to progress the way it is, he's going to be your ace or your number 2 guy.
Which I heard you say earlier today on Recruiting Country, just the early part of our 30 piece of content today. He's throwing to hitters beginning next month, correct?
Yeah, in November. He and Josh Stewart will start throwing to hitters next month. So you figure Sadeo's one of those guys on the weekend. Weston Moss, there's no question. It's not potentially he's making this jump from bullpen to starter. He is. And he looked like a frontline SEC dude in both of those scrimmage outings.
Yes, he
did. Fastball's up in terms of velo and run ride profile. The changeup's always been a real pitch for him. The biggest strides he's made is with the slider. And he got a ton of buckle and wave out of it. And then, you talked about Aiden Sims. Clayton Freshcorn's in the mix for that Sunday role as well, I would think. Freshcorn had a couple of good outings. And coming off the end of the year last year where he had some confidence. The most impressive part of whatever's happened this fall, without question for Aggie baseball, has been the pitching. And you're not even talking about Ethan Darden, who comes in here from Clemson, and major crossfire, funky left-hander that just mowed through guys in both of his outings.
Yes. Or Juan Vargas.
Yeah, Juan Vargas looks like a leverage bullpen piece. It's exactly what he looks like, and that's exactly what he's thrown like. But you could go up and down the A&M pitching roster and talk about guys that are like, man, I feel like a lot of them I would go, man, that's better than I thought it would be. And Hunter Vincent, who was not good against Sam Houston State, bounced back and looked really sharp against TCU. And that's a true freshman out of Prosper that they got late. He was committed to Oral Roberts for a long time, decommitted and opened up his recruitment, and it got down to A&M, Oklahoma, and Arkansas, and he chose the Aggies. And this kid's going to pitch as a freshman. He absolutely is. And I'll be interested to ask Coach Early next time we talk to him are there some guys that we didn't see in any of those 24 innings that you think are going to impact the pitching rotation? Because we saw Nico Partito once, didn't see him twice. Saw Luke Billings twice. He's a 2-way player as a freshman. But we haven't seen some of the other ones they brought in. Cooper Powell out of junior college, Hunter Bond out of junior college. Yeah. We didn't see Jackson Brousseau, Grant Cunningham. Do any of these guys figure to play a role on the mound?
Yeah.
We'll find a lot. They're just kind of compressed right now when in the fall when they're only playing 2 scrimmages. So all of these guys are throwing to hitters during the week. We just don't know about them and their potential impact. But I do want to close the Aggie baseball discussion.
Before you close, we do have somebody in the YouTube chat asking about MJ Brauninger.
He was good in the first outing. Got roughed up a little bit. Was the benefactor of a really slick double play started by Travis Chestnut the other night against TCU. It's funky. Like, it's a funky delivery, funky right-hander. He's kind of high-strung. Going to remind you a little bit of Nolan Hoffman from years back.
Call whispers. He would talk to himself on the bump.
And Brauninger pitches with a ton of energy, his chip on his shoulder, going to be really fiery. So I thought it was good. Like, I wasn't going, okay, like they got a lot to work on there. Like, he threw strikes, he competed, was good in his first outing against Sam, and then got hit a little bit in his one inning against TCU. But that's going to be kind of his role, is in the bullpen as a right-handed option. So we'll kind of see how that stuff continues to play. But I would throw him in there with the transfers that are definitely going to contribute. And keep in mind, so yes, TCU the other night was without Tommy Lepore, their best right-hander on the mound, and that's going to make their staff even deeper. They're without Sawyer Strohsnyder, one of the best hitting outfielders in the country. Texas A&M was also without, as you mentioned, Shane Sadeo, Caden McCoy, and Josh Stewart. Oh, and by the way, Chris Akopian.
And they're not letting Gavin Grohovic play defense or run the bases.
And so I think that there's a lot to go back to my original point about what Kendall said. I'm not disagreeing with Kendall Rogers that TCU looked like a contender, because with that staff and when you add Tommy Lepore, they are a contender. They ran out a bevy of big-time power arms, no question. But to say that to not put A&M in that category after what we watched, I think is a little bit disingenuous, and it's because you're gun-shy over what happened last year. When everything by your eyes will tell you this team looks way different than it did last year. Way, way different.
A lot of new faces.
And the only way it's going to get better, it's going to get more talented when you add Hakopian to the order. It's going to get more talented when you add Sadeo and McCoy and Stewart to the pitching depth. So I just think you can't call TCU a contender after watching that. And you can even say that that's way premature to call TCU a contender, because I thought they were light in the batter's box.
And we thought last year that Texas A&M, throughout the preseason, the fall, and into January, that team was
a contender
team in the country. So no one really knows anything. But it was fun to be out at the ballpark with you the last couple Fridays, dude.
But don't you like? I'm more intrigued by this team as we sit here today on October 15th than I was maybe on August 15th.
About Texas A&M?
Yes.
For sure.
Yes.
For sure. The freshmen, the pitching.
Let me tell you something. If you guys don't know this name yet, Jorian Wilson is a freak.
Looks like
Brazos Valley Bomber legend.
Brazos Valley Bomber, who played for the Bombers as an 18-year-old that hadn't, like, he just graduated from Hallettsville and then came up here and played in the summer.
He was the most physically impressive player on the field every game that he played. He only play, they only play X amount of games during the summer, but he played about 12 games. Again, physically most impressive player on the field, and he hit the ball very, very hard a few games. Definitely the hardest hit ball in the game in some of those. So
we didn't see him like really get into a ball in either of these scrimmages. I can tell you, I've been out there on some of the days where they take batting practice, and the exit velos are north of 115. So that's that's good Jace Lavalette. That's good Gavin Grohovic. He's 6'4", 220 pounds. He stole 2 bases against Sam Houston. He had would have an outfield assist had TCU tested his arm.
Yes.
He caught a fly ball in shallow, and I guess strike. Let's say like a mid left field.
It was a decision, right? It would have been a decision in a regular season game.
So he's got to catch it, and assume that the runner is going to tag and try to score from that depth. And he fired an absolute rocket to the plate, perfect on one hop. I've been told he throws. It's not as elite as Braden Montgomery or Tyler Naquin, but it's in that neighborhood. So this kid,
to mention him with those 2 names, for those of you who are new to the Texas A&M baseball thing, like, yes, Braden Montgomery. Tyler Naquin might have had the best arm of any Texas A&M outfielder ever. He was amazing in right field back in the early 2000s.
And Jorian,
2010s,
you just look at just raw talent. This is a roster that is going to have probably 3 first-rounders in the lineup with Hakopian, Grohovic, and Sorrell if everything goes well. I mean, we just talk about them. They're projected as first-rounders right now. Who knows how high Sadeo goes, but you're going to have potentially 4 guys in the first round. And Jorian Wilson is of that caliber in terms of his raw talent. I say raw talent for a reason. I don't know if he's going to get 10 at-bats or 150 at-bats, but this kid has got some real ability, and that is not to throw any shade at the other freshmen who are not far behind. This freshman class is loaded with talent. And A&M's been the benefactor of having good recruiting classes and having these instant impact freshmen, especially at the plate, but they've never had this many. They've never had Wilson, Nico Partita, Boston Kellner, Luke Billings. Like, all 4 of those are talented enough to play and be everyday players at Texas A&M as freshmen. It's truly a remarkable group. So you think about, they had a couple nipped by the draft, or it would have even better. You would have added Josiah Hartshorn and Blaine Bullard and Johnny Slowinski.
Part of it, right?
That's part of it. When you recruit at a high level, and A&M is rolling on the baseball recruiting trail right now. Coach Early, Coach Longley have just been pulling commits in the boat left and right. I think it's like 8 in the last 3 weeks.
Yeah, can we talk about Texas A&M baseball recruiting specifically because the Bon Voyage thing is pretty outlandish, right, Nick? Like, Brauninger just tweeting a train emoji, an ice cream emoji, a baseball emoji. Do you include that? A eyes emoji and a thumbs up.
No thumbs up.
No thumbs up?
Eyes, ice cream train.
Okay. And then the Bon Voyage. Like, what is that?
Do you know how that happened?
Yeah, I remember the story, Brauny, but I'll let you tell it.
Yeah, so I just thought that the Bon Voyage clip was cool, and I was going to send it to my high school buddies group chat for a celebration. Like, you just have group chats with your buddies, and you put goofy stuff in there, silly stuff. And I was doing Eyes Ice Cream Train, and it was haphazard.
I would have thought, like, Incredibles was after your time.
It is,
that's
but
why
like,
it's so shocking.
Bon Voyage is memed.
Bon Voyage.
And it's a French thing, and with where I'm from in Texas and playing in Louisiana. So anyway, it was a mistake that has turned into like a happy accident, as Bob Ross would say.
That's what your mom calls you. Got him. Bang.
I forgot to wish my mother a happy birthday on here yesterday. I did call her and talk to her and wish her a happy birthday, but happy birthday, Missy Brauninger. Funny enough, my mom born on October 14th, my dad born on October 16th. So tomorrow will be the big dog's birthday. All right. So putting a bow on our Aggie baseball discussion there. We start looking at some of the college football slate ahead, and Josh Pate put out his midseason playoff bracket yesterday. I sent it to Nick. He's got it. He'll pop it up here.
I'm gonna go look it up so I can look at it.
We have it right here. Look at the screen.
Yeah, but there's so many things in my way.
So in case you've missed this, Josh Pate has Texas A&M. You can keep that up there, Nick. Josh Pate has Texas A&M as the overall number 6 seed and advancing to the semifinals. The Aggies would host in his mock bracket. The Aggies would host a first-round game against Nebraska. I would love that.
Be so cool.
And then they would be taking on Texas Tech in a quarterfinal game, which I don't know which site that would be at. I have not studied which quarterfinal is going to what bowl.
Well, they would put the 1 seed, which would be Ohio State, somewhere that's historically accurate. I assume that would be the Rose Bowl or something of that ilk, maybe the Rose Bowl or the Fiesta Bowl. Alabama's likely going to the Sugar Bowl. Miami's going to the
A&M Tech in the Cotton Bowl?
Probably in the Cotton Bowl.
Well, that would be a rowdy scene. Nick, if I can't see the other side of the TV, but if I'm not mistaken, that is 4 SEC schools in the playoffs for Pate. Is that correct?
That's correct. Yeah, he's got Georgia taking on Ole Miss. That game would be in Oxford. Georgia wins it. And then he has Bama as the 4 seed.
And I just pulled up where the actual semifinals are. So it would make sense that it would be New Year's Eve, A&M versus Tech in the Cotton Bowl, if they're doing it regionally. Because Miami's going to go to the Orange Bowl. Ohio State would definitely be in the Rose Bowl. That's a quarterfinal this year. And then that leaves the Sugar Bowl, Cotton Bowl, Alabama being the 4, or I guess Tech being the 3. The regionality would go to Cotton Bowl over the Sugar Bowl.
Well, the interesting thing here is to start counting the conferences in Pate's playoff prediction. The G5 representative is South Florida, and then he's got Notre Dame in. So between those two and then the 4 SEC schools, he's got half the bracket. Texas Tech is in, okay, as the Big 12 representative. So the Big 10, Nick, would have Nebraska and Oregon.
And Indiana. Indiana and 5.
And Ohio State.
Yeah, and Ohio State.
So he's gone 4 SEC, 4 Big 10, 1 ACC.
Yes, 1 ACC, Miami.
See, this is where it gets really, really murky.
You think Miami could get, or the ACC could get multiple teams in, right?
Hold on, multiple. There's a situation where they have to put 3 in.
No.
Yes.
No.
Because they don't play anybody. If Virginia wins the ACC,
then I think they put in 2.
Hold on. So if Virginia wins the ACC, that means they beat Miami in the ACC championship game, right?
Yes.
So Miami I think would still get in, wouldn't you? If that's their only loss is in the conference championship game, you can't penalize them for playing in a conference championship game. But what happens if Georgia Tech goes undefeated on the season? Then the ACC is going to get 3. If that scenario happens, Nick, you just swap out Georgia for Georgia Tech.
Yeah, I would have a real hard time buying that 3 ACC teams would get put in that scenario. But I mean,
well,
I guess
just think about it, dude. So the interesting part about this is Virginia has a loss to NC State, an ACC school.
Virginia's schedule is stinky.
It is stinky. But here's the thing. That wasn't an ACC loss. It was an ACC team, but it was a non-conference game.
Yeah.
So if they run the table and then they win the league, they're definitely getting in. And you're not going to keep Miami out or Georgia Tech, whoever they play in the final. I'm guessing it would be Miami. And so Georgia Tech could go undefeated and not get in? I don't think that's happening.
Yeah.
That'd be amazing.
We are truly
then guess
bound
what?
for chaos
The very
here.
next year, 16-team playoff because they would expand.
Yeah, I think you would have to. But the ACC, there's some folks in that college football playoff committee that are going, we need somebody to lose a game they shouldn't.
Yeah.
In that league.
Yeah.
And I think they would probably prefer it to be Virginia.
How much Virginia and Georgia Tech football do you think that playoff committee has watched? Probably not.
I know they've watched Virginia.
Virginia beat Florida State.
They beat Florida State for sure. And that was a Friday night. There really wasn't anything else on to watch.
Good point.
And I'm sure they've watched something, because Georgia Tech.
Yeah,
opened
Georgia
the season.
Tech's been fun.
Georgia Tech has been fun.
Beat
That is
Clemson.
a good. Georgia Tech's been like underratedly really, really fun.
Tell me where a loss comes from here. Washington State, UNC, Cal, Wake, Duke, Virginia Tech. That's Virginia's schedule.
That's Virginia's.
Now they're at Cal and they're at Duke.
No,
That's
maybe Duke. Maybe Duke.
I could see at Cal going across the country.
No, Cal's stinky. Like Nick said, Cal's stinky.
Cal
They're
does
4
stink.
and 2. I mean, they're just they're not good, but I mean, they're not.
I think they're real bad.
Well, we got to talk. We'll talk a lot tomorrow about this week's slate, just because of who A&M's got on the docket. I think everybody's a little bit nervous about Saturday night. I'm of the opinion that these next 3 games for the Aggies, if you get 2 of them, you come back home to Kyle Field with South Carolina and Samford. You could be, if you're looking at 10-1 going to Austin, everybody would take that. Everybody would take that. And but you worry about this one this weekend because it's Arkansas, because it's Harley Davidson night, and because the weather, quite frankly.
Yeah,
I think the weather's
what has me way more scared than any sort of Bobby Petrino hex. Significantly more worried. But at the same time, I also think A&M is better prepared to play a game in the rain than Arkansas.
That's my exact thought, Richard. They can run the ball.
They can run the ball,
type of games
Arkansas
are
is going to have
conducive to
to
that.
go against A&M's run defense, which is a top 22 run-stopping team in the country.
Guess who has a problem with fumbles? Taylon Green.
Yes,
what
he does.
helps with
Arkansas
fumbles?
in general.
Water.
Arkansas fumbled Sam Pittman's tenure away.
They're -5 in the turnover battle on the year. They're not very good.
Well, and A&M, you just worry about the weather because snaps from center. Anything can happen when the ball is that slick, because it doesn't look like it's going to be like some passing shower or like 40% chance of scattered storms. It's like 90% chance for most of the day right now in Fayetteville.
I will say that I really, really like that it's a day game, not a night game.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think it matters.
I
Do we
prefer
think?
it be
hold
at
on.
11 a.m.
Arkansas is going to beat somebody.
You have to ensure that it's not you. You have to ensure that it's not you.
Well, let's look at the rest of their schedule. Because I know they got LSU still remaining. But you just feel like because of their talent on offense and because Taylor Green, they score a bunch of points, they're going to get somebody. All right, they got A&M and then Auburn at home, then Mississippi State at home. They go to LSU, they go to Texas, and then they've got they end the season with Missouri at home. They're getting somebody. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, for sure.
They're picking off somebody.
Just like we've been saying about Vanderbilt all year. And I know they already picked off one team, but they're going to get another. Like, those two teams are just obviously going to beat somebody. There's no way Arkansas finishes 3-9 or whatever. They definitely get to 4, maybe 5 wins.
Well, and I think, too, what Bobby Petrino's looking at is if he's got any percent chance to get that job permanently, what does he have to do over their final 6 games? 3-3? That gets him to 5 and 7. If he goes 4-2, gets him to 6 and 6. That's bowl eligibility.
A bowl game. If he got him to 4-2 and then possibly won a bowl game, finishes 5-2. Who, especially with the coaching carousel the way it is this year already, with how many jobs are open, I'm not sure Arkansas's best option is to just take the interim tag off of Bobby P.
There's just so much still in this college football season, even in the middle of October, that we still don't know, and looks like we are headed for chaos to the likes we haven't seen since 2007. I just hope A&M's not part of the chaos.
Isn't that exciting?
As
a college football fan, take off your team hat for a moment. Just the fact that each week is going to have something riding on every game. Really,
here's the thing.
Every game is good for the fans.
In the next 3 weeks, you just know that at Baton Rouge and Columbia, Missouri, those are already like – you're going to have your heart in your throat for most of that game. I would love if A&M could go up to Fayetteville and we could put our feet up for the second half.
That'd be awesome.
That'd be awesome. But you know it ain't. It ain't going to work out that way. Yeah. Something stupid's going to happen. Arkansas is going to be in this game. I mean, you think we've got oink doink. We've got the dive over the top that gets returned by Damani Richardson, the fumble return, which a lot of people.
Kellen Mond being called out of bounds.
Yes, we have. A lot of people are pointing to that play.
1,000 Brandon Allens and his brothers.
Overtime interceptions, overtime fourth down stops. You look at that oink doink, the fumble return, and people are like, that is where Sam Pittman's career turned in Fayetteville.
What, it's really been comfortable for Texas A&M, twice? And none of them were the games up in, I guess maybe 3 times, because I will say the Trevor Knight year was pretty comfortable.
Trevor Knight was comfortable.
And then both of Johnny's games.
Both of Johnny's
blitzed them.
I would love that.
They also got the benefit of it being the John L. Smith year and then Bielema's first year.
What the funny part about both of those games that Johnny blitzed them in, rainy, disgusting conditions.
Yeah.
In College Station and in Arkansas.
Fayetteville.
So
A&M hadn't been there in 12 years.
So the Aggies need 2 of these next 3 as we enter in the most, and the reason why this is the most important stretch of the season is because what you've done up to this point. And these games would matter way less had you not gone 6-0, won in South Bend, and been, for all intents and purposes, let's call it what it is. They've been pretty dominant here at home. The Arkansas scoreline, if you didn't watch any of that game, you're going to go, man, Arkansas had the ball late with a chance to tie the game or win it. But you didn't watch the game, if that's what you say. A&M dominated that football game. They just didn't get over the line, and they didn't make the plays to turn it into what should have been a comfortable 27-3, something like that sort of win. Now, they did against Mississippi State, and they did late against Florida, so you have confidence with that. And here's one thing, too. What I know about Coach Elko.
Tell me what you know.
This isn't going to be one of these things where he's willfully ignorant to the problems of his team or the potential pitfalls that the schedule presents. He's incredibly aware. He's incredibly sharp. And when you start talking about rain, there have been coaches here in the past that I think would just, okay, well, if it rains, we'll deal with it on Saturday. I don't think Coach Elko is going to be that dull to it, that thick to it. Like, he's very keenly aware of the issues on his team.
You want me to tell you what I know? Because I listened to the FCC teleconference today, and he was asked about wet ball situations. Today, and they will continue tomorrow, Texas A&M has already started practicing wet ball situations.
Yeah, and I know,
and Ashton Bethel Roman spoke about it during his his NIL interview with David Nuno earlier on the Huddle.
So that's what I'm confident in, is that regardless of the situation, they will have been prepared for it. Now, whether they compete and execute in the moment, that's always kind of a coin flip with college age kids. That's what we're dealing with here. But as Nick is like, he's producer Superman. Your mic's off. That's why. Yeah. There you go. Nick, you're trying to be too professional on this show. This is lowbrow. You don't have to try to hide it. So Josh Pate's midseason playoff bracket, Aggies is the number 6 seed going to the semifinals. He had them losing to Oregon. That was because his preseason prediction was Oregon, Alabama in the final, with Alabama as his national champion.
I respect Nick's Josh Pate for holding firm on his predictions.
We are going to predict a bunch of games tomorrow. But have you been following this Big Ten story about the private equity? They're looking into private equity to fund.
A little bit, right? And I'm not sure I understand it all that well, but I know that private equity in college athletics is something that a lot of people have been fearful of for quite a long time, to be honest with you.
Well, what's interesting is that there's starting to be a little bit of pushback from some of the institutions in the Big Ten, and it's 2 teams that played each other last week in Michigan and USC. I'm reading from an ESPN article written by Dan Wetzel. The Big Ten's proposed $2 billion plus private capital deal is facing headwinds after a joint meeting Tuesday afternoon between trustees at Michigan and USC led to unified questions about the plan, sources who were on the call told ESPN. The 2 schools discussed their shared skepticism during the call. One sticking point: the deal doesn't address the root issue, soaring cost. That has made the need for cash so imperative for athletic departments. Just providing short-term money, sources said, does not solve that issue. And here are some of the questions that I would have about this private equity. And we've talked about this being the potential direction of college sports. I think every AD, especially the one here, is keenly aware of what could be coming down the pipe in this arena. But I don't, it's a slippery slope, man. And so here's some of the questions. Like, why is the Big Ten looking into this? Is it because they don't have enough schools that can cover the rev share number? So is that $20 million set to be divvied up amongst athletes? Is that too big of a number for a lot of the schools in the league?
My mind immediately goes to Northwestern and Purdue, Illinois.
More up, yeah. Michigan,
Iowa,
Michigan State.
Michigan State.
Maryland,
Rutgers.
There's not a lot of there's way more have-nots when you're looking at this than there are haves that are able to get to that number and float it consistently. So for the teams in the league that can't float it, this private equity stuff sounds mighty good, doesn't it? Another question I have: how does the equity get returned to the investors? One thing we know about rich people is they didn't get rich because they spend their money frivolously. They're already, and for the last few years, Nick, they've been pouring frivolous spending into college athletics because they like to burn their money up. They like to see their teams win. And so while they had to fund a lot of this NIL stuff, they have been writing these checks. But eventually, if you're going to provide them an avenue to write these checks but also get return on it, yeah, I think that is a little bit enticing. But how does that equity get returned to the investors? They're going to want to see that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that, I don't know. It's such a complicated deal, and I don't know. I'm like Richard. I need to know a little bit more about it because it's all confusing to me. But I mean,
well, here's another thing: is that if the Big Ten goes through with this, everybody else will too.
Just go back and look. That's the one thing that I know.
This is the way the ball's been rolling since California signed into law the name, image, and likeness agreement, right? And that was Maverick Carter, that was LeBron James, Gavin Newsom. All of Nick's buddies were out there, and they signed this.
Nick's buddies.
They signed this bill into law, and everybody just walked away from it, and they're like, look what we did. We are pioneers for college athletics, and they just left it, and it's blown up into what everybody thought it was going to blow up into. But they wanted their parade for signing this into law and allowing athletes to get paid, but there was no structure. There was no organization around it, and so it's blossomed into an uncontrollable beast. And so much like the NIL law, if private equity's coming, it's not going to be just the Big Ten that does that. But I happen to think that the reason that Michigan and USC are pushing back on this is because it helps their competitors more than it does them.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yep.
You want to maintain that competitive advantage as long as possible.
It
only makes sense.
It's a super interesting time, and I'm sure that Follow the Money may be. I don't know if have they recorded this week, Nick?
They did. They actually talked a little bit about this on yesterday's episode.
Is that out? I haven't listened to it.
It is.
Yep.
Okay, so Mr. Monaco and his infinite wisdom, does he break us off any breadcrumbs, or is it more Arbo and Lofton and John Heidke?
It's a lot of those guys, but I mean, Mr. Monaco is extremely, extremely smart in the sports landscape beyond the X's and O's.
Well, look what's about to come.
He's
look
awesome.
what's coming right in front of him on the train track. This Playfly deal.
Yeah.
So he's going to have to get creative. Playfly is going to get creative in this new landscape, and it'll be interesting to see what more is asked of a guy that is broadcasting every male A&M sporting event of the big three already, or as many as he can.
Yeah.
What else is put on his plate now with this Playfly deal? I'm sure it's. I don't think he'll be unprepared, but there's got to be some. I guess some. I don't want to say angst or worry because
it's open to his interpretation. I think is what I've gathered.
A
From
lot of his concern on that end, just knowing and talking to him, is he's got to staff out all sorts of board ops and producers and all sorts of stuff.
Because
Learfield had all of that built for him, and Playfly doesn't have that right now.
Super interesting. So yeah, I don't want to say it was like worry or angst for Andrew Monaco, but it's more like, all right, what is this going to look like? I guess inquisitiveness would be the word. What's next? I think he'll handle it. And I've so much enjoyed the kind of live reactions that they're filming of he and Dave Elmendorf in the booth.
They keep cutting me off.
They cut. No,
I have a bone to
week.
pick with 12th Man Productions. They keep cutting me off. They need to fix
Nick
that.
Makes the cameo. It's awesome. It makes my week every single time Nick shows up. He gives a fist bump.
Nick is, for those that don't know, Nick is Mr. Monaco's spotter in Kyle Field on game days. So every now and then you'll see a little in the bottom corner of the screen. You'll see Nick's head pop up on these cutaways when they record Andrew and Dave Elmendorf in the booth. I'm wondering if we're going to do that for baseball this year.
God,
because
weekend games only and not Brauninger broadcast, please.
Well, I don't know how many. Hopefully, I'm at home with a newborn baby.
True.
So,
well, you will be.
But I am interested in that because LSU's baseball guys,
they do that.
They live stream it.
Oh, yuck!
So you can be watching the game on your TV, and then you can be watching the booth on YouTube if you want to, and then they put out those live streams as full videos because. The only reason I know this is because last year during the LSU series, I was broadcasting the game. I looked over and I saw them setting it up. So if you'll remember that Sunday game, Sorrell had the huge 3-run homer late to put A&M ahead, and the Aggies won the series. And I wanted to see the reaction to it, and it was,
I remember watching.
That's got hate watching, right?
Hate watching.
No, because. Well, maybe it is. I don't know.
Hey, because I know we got 15 minutes left, but somebody in the YouTube chat wants to know, Marco Jones still going to play baseball?
Yes.
That's the question.
Yes, that's the plan.
But not practicing right now, right?
Yeah, he's obviously, he does
on football.
He does nothing baseball-wise in the fall at all.
Gotcha.
He didn't even show up to the scrimmage to sit in the dugout. He is football only until that season is completely finished, and then he will come over to baseball. Marco, that's another one. Like you add a 6'5", 220-pound freak show in the batter's box. He should have been in his senior season in the spring as a senior baseball player in California, and he had enrolled early at Texas A&M and started to go out to A&M's preseason baseball scrimmages, and he was getting hits off Justin Lampkin. He hit a ball off the clock above the Bluebell Park scoreboard off of Cade McCoy. And this is so
awesome.
He's just a freak show. So you're going to add another super talented bat to the mix.
Ridiculous. It just shouldn't happen.
So,
Justin Lampkin's top 10 all-time Texas A&M history in strikeouts. And here's this kid fresh out of high school just getting knocks.
Some interesting things that have happened around the sports world, not just close to home here. I don't know if you saw this. It popped up on my timeline early this morning. Cristiano Ronaldo broke the World Cup qualifying goal scoring record. Don't worry, we're not talking soccer here. on the same day that Lionel Messi broke the record for most international assists. I started thinking about this because of the age of those two guys.
Mm-hmm.
Who are the best old athletes of all time?
Like right now?
Just
or
of all
ever?
time.
Well,
Tom
Gordie
Brady.
Howe's gotta be atop that list. The dude played in, I believe it was 7 different decades at the highest level. Yeah, because he started his career at like the end of one decade. Look up Gordie Howe's career.
I'm doing it right now.
It's insane.
Gordie Howe retired from the NHL at age of 52 in 1980. Playing his final game with a heart.
So
he had a
maybe
career
not
that spanned
7, 5 decades.
5 decades, and is
Yes.
considered one of the greatest and longest hockey players ever. Yeah, you retire at 52 from
Greatest
any professional
old athlete of all time. Nolan Ryan.
Nolan Ryan would be in mine.
pitched into his 40s.
He had a no hitter. Nolan Ryan's last was that 44?
93.
Last no hitter age. He's 44. Yep, 44.
My dad worked for the Rangers.
It was
back
91.
then. My mom and dad got married in 1991. My dad's groomsman's gift to his boys, Nolan Ryan signed baseballs.
Pretty cool. We got his granddaughter working here now.
That is cool. And she's awesome.
She's great. And I posed this question to Nuno earlier this morning. He said George Foreman. George Foreman was a heavyweight champ at over age 40. Then he lost to Evander Holyfield, I think, when he was 42.
That's impressive.
And
So impressive.
Tom Brady.
Yeah. Tom Brady's pretty awesome.
What do we think? Julio Franco.
I just shouted out a baseball or a hockey name. What Alex Ovechkin and Sidney Crosby are still doing right now at their ages.
How are they?
I mean, they've been in the league for over 20 years. So they're late 30s, early 40s. And that sport is such a grind physically. Not that the others aren't. Not to discount what Tom Brady's did or Nolan Ryan did, because it takes a lot to get your body at that age up to compete at the highest level.
What about
week in,
this?
week out.
Julio Franco played his final major league game on September 17th, 2007 at the age of 49.
I think we're burying the lead. I think the greatest old athlete of all time was Bartolo Colon.
He didn't play till he's 49.
He played till he was like 45, though.
How long did Jamie Moyer play? Jamie Moyer retirement age.
Jamie Moyer, that was crazy. He was
Throwing the
pretty
ball
insane.
negative miles an hour.
Rich Hill's still throwing.
Rich Hill's old too. Jamie Moyer retired from the game of baseball at age 49. Pitched his final game May 27th, 2012. Spanned 25 seasons across 4 decades.
That's insane.
This is crazy. And like we still have some old athletes kicking now. We mentioned Ronaldo and Messi.
Tiger Woods, is he technically old? I mean, he won the Masters.
When did his last Masters win?
Let me look.
That was only about 5 years ago.
He won it in 2019. How old was Tiger Woods in 2000?
He's 49 right now. So I guess, okay, so he's in his early 40s. So
golf, it's hard for me to just cave on golf because of
I get it.
the physical strains of the sport are much less than all these other ones we're talking about.
100% agree.
Fair. It is fair.
So interesting. Ronaldo, Messi, the greatest soccer players to ever walk the planet. In my opinion, Messi is the GOAT because he's what he's done with Argentina. But we are living in an age where in the last 10 years, we've seen some pretty remarkable longevity. Like their career has been pretty crazy.
I still think it's crazy that I'm not even going to
Hey, speaking of crazy, Nick, pop up this tweet that I sent you about the Holy War. We forgot to get to this when we were talking about the college football stuff and BYU being in the middle of college football playoff discussions. They are hosting the Utah Utes in what is affectionately known as the Holy War in the greater Salt Lake area. There was an arrest made for a guy that runs the Twitter burner account. Can you read it? I think it's Juice is Loose.
Oh, that's Luke.
Yeah, Juice is Loose.
Do you have the entire tweet in front of you, Nick?
Burner
like
guy.
the news report?
Yes.
Let me get to it.
I have it because I think I sent it to you. Let's see.
If it's a burner guy, that's Luke.
Here it
that's
is.
Luke Nardi.
This is from Heidi Hatch, KUTV in Salt Lake City. Breaking. Arrest made after online threats ahead of BYU-Utah game. Police have arrested Christopher Justice after tracking online threats made from the account At Juice is Loose 328 on X on October 14th. The user posted, I will be in Lavelle Edwards Stadium Saturday. Any Ute fan I see is dead. Mark my words. When another person told him to log off, he replied, nah, anyone wearing red on Saturday is getting shot. Investigators identified Justice as the person behind the account. He was arrested and is currently on probation following a second DUI conviction in 10 years. This guy's a real winner, and he deserves to go to jail.
Guys.
You should never joke over. Like, this is what I love about this, Nick, is that this is a burner that people feel so safe to tweet from all the time is going to jail. So there is justice being served, even if you're trying to hide your identity.
Yeah,
Yes.
they should be.
Absolutely. And the thing that people don't realize is that your IP address is getting tracked. You might be anonymous. Your account might be anonymous. So Joe Blow or Richard Zane can't just find out who you are, but the authorities absolutely can. You are not anonymous online, ever. They will find you.
And I'm glad they did. You shouldn't. I mean, this is beyond the pale. I hope this guy's the fact that he's on probation, he's looking at sitting in a cell for a little bit, and he should.
You dummy.
And I'm sure this was a bit. And he was trying to be funny. At least I hope it was. But he's going to learn his lesson now.
Here's the thing: is I hope he was trying to be funny, but in today's world, I don't know if he was trying to be funny. He's probably serious.
What just happened in that state not too long ago?
Yeah,
it's not something you joke about.
A lot of things have happened, and I mean, yeah. I'll stop.
So anyway, I forgot to get to that while we were talking about college football. So we're going to wrap up the show with a We Learned Wednesday. Some of the things that I've learned on social media over the last couple of days. I learned that Ryan Tannehill was a statistically better quarterback than Troy Aikman. And there is the evidence popped up on the screen. If you look at all the numbers. Now, Nuno was playing goaltender for Troy Aikman and said, well, it was a different era. And I'm like, well, time out. Well, hold on, time out. Dan Marino still holds a ton of passing records from that same era. So don't talk to me about it's just the difference in era. But look at these numbers. Ryan Tannehill outperforms Troy Aikman in some of these statistical categories by a long shot. Troy Aikman's a Hall of Famer. Ryan Tannehill is not. Do you know why? Because of what Troy Aikman, yes, the rings. And I'm not arguing that whenever he wins, was it 4 Super Bowls?
Yeah. 3
Super Bowls. He was an all-pro. But again, like the supporting cast he played with. And if you want to goaltend for Troy Aikman even more, you can say, well, Ryan Tannehill didn't have Emmitt Smith to hand the ball to. And
Michael Irvin to throw the ball to.
But we're talking about quarterback statistics. So you're not going to throw the ball as much whenever you hand it to Emmitt Smith, but you are going to throw the ball as much whenever you've got Michael Irvin and Jay Novacek to throw the ball to. This was just this is a very interesting head-to-head comparison for me because
Jay Novacek used to own the sports clips that I went to in Flower Mound, Texas.
I didn't know that Jay Novacek used to own sports clips because some of the ones in Southeast Texas had his picture in it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he owned the one that was just down the road from my house.
I also learned on Twitter over the weekend that there are some former LSU players that do not want Brian Kelly to be the head coach. Most notably Braden Fajoko. And then in the last couple of days via the Barstool broadcast, T-Bob Hebert is trying to pawn Brian Kelly off on Penn State. And he's doing it very facetiously and funny, and it's funny. But the LSU fan base did not appreciate former players the way they were doing like this backhanded, oh, please don't take him. He's such a good coach. We love him down here in the Bayou. It was so tongue-in-cheek.
Yeah. You can see through it rather easily.
Oh, yeah. And it was clearly a bit and clearly a goof that they were working on, but it was not well received.
Can I tell you that T-Bob Hebert is one of my favorite people in media?
He's smarter than a lot of people.
He is the first person I met at SEC Media Days. Nick, you can kind of empathize, sympathize, being in those shoes, being on Radio Row first time, you really have no idea what to expect. And we were in Hoover, must have been 2021. It was the year that Texas and Oklahoma, that move was announced. We were on ground zero when that news came out. And day one, just down Radio Row from us is T-Bob and Hester, and they're doing their show same time as us. And I just go up to him and ask him, hey, man, a couple questions. Just like, how should I go about this whole, like, because he can tell I'm young and new to the industry, and he gave me a lot of advice, super nice. And then in Nashville for media days, when I was more of a media day seasoned vet, and Billy Lucci took us out and tried to show us a good time, T-Bob was part of the entourage, and I guess he is the entire entourage.
I mean, you're telling me a guy named
total
constant
goofball
motion,
Yeah.
just dancing the entire time, and those honky tonks. Just
hold on. Do you guys know what T-Bob stands for?
Personification of a good time.
Yeah, his name's T-Bob Hebert. In Louisiana, they call people T whatever, like T-Boy, T-Bob. It's like for petite. That's like a Cajun nickname bestowed upon.
Because his dad is
Bob Hebert.
Bob Hebert.
So he's T-Bob. And it's like, I grew up with guys that called their grandfathers T-Boy. And it's just like, it's an endearing name for,
didn't know that.
Yeah. So his name's T-Bob Hebert. Of course he's going to be a good time. If I ever met T-Bob, I'd want to know, how did you get rid of the accent? Because he doesn't sound like he's from down there.
Where's he from?
I don't know his hometown.
I'm looking it up. T-Bob Hebert. He played center. He was born in Kenner.
Yeah, so how did you kick that accent?
Kenner, Louisiana. Went to Greater Atlanta Christian School. Well, his dad was coaching, so he moved around
so he
a lot.
did move around. So he wasn't stuck to it all the time. All right, the final thing that I learned, and this is I thought this was interesting in my scrolls on Instagram. I learned that Enzo Ferrari, the founder of Ferrari supercars, sport cars, created his biggest competitor when he had a spat with a man that built tractors over a faulty clutch that this man had purchased from Ferrari. The tractor maker told him that he could make a better car, and Ferrari told him to stick to making tractors. That pissed off the tractor maker, who then decided that he could make sports cars on his own and make them better. The name of that tractor maker, Ferruccio Lamborghini.
Yeah, I did know that Lamborghini originally made tractors. I did not know that he started making sport cars because of a spat with Ferrari. Knowing what I know about Enzo Ferrari and the old man, as they call him in racing circuits, racing circles, he created a lot of competitors because he would look down his nose at a lot of different things. I mean, Nick, you're familiar with Ford versus Ferrari, the movie, right? The only reason Ford wanted to go win the Le Mans, which is Enzo Ferrari's crown jewel, more so than Formula One, a lot of people don't know that, is because Ford tried to buy Ferrari at one point. And Ferrari had the Ford delegation come out to Italy and basically said, tell Mr. Ford to go back to making his crappy cars.
Listen here, Nick Savage doesn't do Euro racing.
I know he doesn't.
He's all about American cars, American muscle.
One thing about Nick Savage is he loves when America kicks the crap out of any European.
I do. That is probably my favorite thing in the entire world.
Yes. Bang.
It's your favorite. You love it.
We're going to win.
All right. We're going to win. We're going to see y'all tomorrow here on the B Team. Thanks for hanging out on a Wednesday, Thunderdome Thursday. I think it's going to get a little spicy here on the desk for Richard and I.
It's going to get spicy because the Dodgers are playing while we're on there.
I might need to find a co-host tomorrow to suffer with me. So we'll see you tomorrow on a Thunderdome Thursday. Be safe out there.